everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate View. We are so excited with all those bloopers that we keep making here. So I am Miki, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Lorraine and Kim.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's had a great week.
Yes. Can you believe it's already the middle of June? I mean, I
It's
feel like
crazy.
I've been wishing for summer to come, and then now it's almost here, and I feel it's going to be gone before it even starts. But
I know.
anywho,
It's been a little bit chilly. It's nice, but a little chilly. So, we had summer and then we went to spring. So I think we're going to go back to summer this weekend, which is good.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's like that 1 week where you have all the season. Like you're just missing the snow, and then you're complete.
Yeah,
No,
let's
I
not
don't
mention
miss the snow. I don't miss the snow. Nope, not at all. So I don't know if it's the same in your areas, but I mean, I'm in New York, and yesterday was, I think, the official day that all of the COVID restrictions were lifted. So it should prove to be an interesting summer. I'll say that.
Yay! So happy, so
lifted,
happy.
meaning like things are fully open. You're able to
Yeah.
walk into
Yeah.
stores with or without masks and
No,
such.
so I think places are still mandating masks, but like the occupancy restrictions have been lifted. So I
Yeah.
think the restaurants and all of the other businesses, they no longer have to operate at partial capacity. They can have like a full house. So that'll be good for the small businesses, I
It
feel, especially in summer.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So who's excited for the subject today?
Of course, every week, I'm excited for all of the topics. And, as we kind of transition or kind of piggybacking off of everything opening up, I think that's also going to transition into real estate because as businesses open up, as people get more comfortable wanting to be
Yeah,
outside and just move about, it's definitely going to affect the real estate market, I feel, in a positive way, honestly.
I think so. So Kim, do you want to kick off our discussion for today?
Well, sure. Today, what are we going to be discussing? We are going to be discussing how, real estate and how we do things in real estate, what we're doing in real estate. Lorraine is doing notes in real estate. I am in the creative finance aspect of real estate. And Miki, you are an acquisition specialist. And I think you're venturing now into commercial.
Yes,
Very
yes.
exciting. Very exciting.
Super
And
excited.
yeah.
I'm so excited today to go a little who we are personally so that we can share, and I think I'm going to learn so much from Lorraine and you, Kim, who you are and what got you into the state. And also, what are your wins and the struggles that you've had along the way? Because I mean, this is a journey, right? We always say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And sometimes it feels like it's this never ending marathon that we're doing.
Yeah. I think that's true because and I don't really feel like the journey ever stops. So you might have, I mean, when we first started, I mean, I consider myself still pretty new to the industry and to business, but your beginning journey kind of is just figuring it all out. Where do I land in this never-ending road of education and experience? And then once you kind of figure that out, then usually you're wanting to scale the business, right? Or go into a different niche, as we talked about in one of our prior episodes, a different niche within the industry. So I don't feel like the journey ever ends, and you kind of pick up different things along the way.
Right, because you're in essence you're learning daily, and learning what you like, what you don't like, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree with, starting off in one area and then slowly realizing, wait a minute, I think I can do this better or I like this more, and you transition into that.
So can we
Yeah.
go back a little bit to our stories?
Hmm.
And I think I'm missing a few details on your stories, ladies. So for me, my husband and I immigrated from Canada 9 years ago now. Well, it's been a long time now. And when we came here, my degrees weren't recognized. And so um, I am also a homeschooler. I have 4 children that I homeschool. And as they were growing, wanted to do something else. That's when we finally got into real estate. So it's been a great learning for us because at the beginning, things are just so hard. And as a woman, because my husband is still working at his full time job, it's very challenging when you enter this world where, you know, a lot of the men's out there are being seen as very successful. And of course, a lot of the workers, it's a man's, just like more of a predominantly men world.
Yeah. Well, first, I mean, let's give you credit for being a homeschooler because I haven't done that myself, but I can only imagine how
And she's doing
intense
with
for
4.
4 kids, right? So let's give you kudos right there because that's an accomplishment in itself. But no, you're right. I feel if we're looking at traditional gender roles, right, usually the woman is at home, the man is out making the money and bringing it. So we're sort of trying to change that dynamic, that women can be effective at home with their family and they can also have a successful business as well. And I think that's part of the premise behind not only just our individual businesses, but the show as well. It's just to sort of highlight those instances where women are really playing multiple roles
Right. And we
nowadays.
not that we can have it all, but we can actually. We
We
can do more
can.
than one thing.
Yes, we
We
can.
can have
Yes.
it all. And I think that's what most of us are striving for, is to be able to have it all.
And
Have a
it's not to
Yes.
and
have a
it's not to say
successful
like when you
business.
have it all that you don't need help or assistance. I
Oh no,
No,
mean,
not at
like they
all.
say, it takes a village, right?
It
But
of course.
does.
it's really to
100%.
highlight those women who are, just kind of crushing it in all aspects, both personally and professionally.
Yes. What about you, Kim? How was it? What are your wins and your struggles that you had, even now or at the beginning? Because we always have new challenges showing up.
Well, I mean,
Showing up.
I
Yeah.
know they show up all the time, actually. Well, some of the struggles I want to say that my partner Jean and I that we've had is sim- kind of similar to your situation, where he is still working his 9 to 5 and he does travel a lot. So, I do a lot of the day to day, handling the VAs, making most of the phone calls. I pretty much, do it all. So it is a little bit challenging in that aspect. And of course, you still have to be a wife and, take care of the house. But I mean, it's challenging, but it's fun. We make it work. We definitely make it work.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I was just gonna say something and then I lost my train of thought. It's gonna come back to me. But so I'm a bit different in the fact that I don't technically have like an official partner in my business. It's sort of like the me, myself, and I, like all three of us, we're doing all of the work for the
And
business.
you're doing awesome, all of you.
Well, thank you. But I feel like because I still have a W-2, right? So part of the struggle is time management, figuring out
Mm.
how to still work the W-2 job and then also be effective in the business. And I mean, that again is an ongoing sort of struggle, I feel like, to me, because even though you try to do the time blocking, or you're going to say, okay, from 1 to 3 I'm only going to do this, but things come up,
Something
right?
always comes up.
Something always comes up and it throws the day off. So I feel like for me, one of the struggles is trying to lead my day instead of having the day lead me. And
Yes. Oh,
that's
I
that's
love
probably
what you're
one of
saying.
the
I love
difficult
that.
things.
Lead your day instead of your
Yeah.
day leading you. You know,
Yeah.
I
I'm
love
still
that.
finding a little bit of a struggle, just, keeping the consistency. Like, I know,
Hmm.
because, my partner still works, his 9 to 5, it's a little bit difficult to say, you know what, this day we're going to do this and focus on that all day, because he does have that other his job to worry about. So that's where I think most of our struggles come, is because is just maintaining consistency,
Yes.
because he's still
Oh,
working.
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
That's a huge one.
let's go into why this show, why the real estate view.
Because we're awesome. I mean, why else?
Why not?
I love that. I'll take that. Thank you.
I mean, no other reason needed. No. I think just as a collective, like when we get together and we have our chats, it just seemed like it was a logical next step to kind of share our experiences.
Yes.
With the public, I guess, for lack of better words. But yeah, I think representation and sharing our experience was really at the forefront of why, at least on my end, why I thought it made sense to have the show.
Right. I mean, it's good for people to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. Instead of just always hearing the good. Oh, I got this property under contract, but what happened? What was the process? Once you got
Right.
the property under contract, and you worked with the contractor, how did that all pan out? Because I know that with the rehabs that we've done, we've had some really terrible experiences with contractors. I know I've spoken to you guys about this, and it's been really, really challenging.
Yeah.
They really test your patience, these contractors. So that's one of the things that I know that we have to, going forward, we definitely have to tighten up on that aspect, because they can make or break your deal. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I
Miki,
want
you're
to.
really good about this, but I think a lot of times, similar to Kim's point, people don't document the journey, right? They
Yes.
don't, they don't, they don't post their losses. We only
Yes.
generally, and it's not to say that we don't want to see positivity on our timelines, right? When we're looking on social media or whatever it is, but a lot of times the realness, going back to the real estate
Yes.
view, the realness is showing what happens in between. And those losses, quote unquote, or those disappointments really help to give motivation to someone else, because someone could be going through the same thing thinking that they're the
Exactly.
only ones who had a contractor who walked off the job or who
Right.
had a hard money lender who backed out last minute or whatever the case is.
Left
So
you at the closing
Yes.
table.
yeah. Exactly.
And
Uh,
for me, I
yeah.
mean, we all know HGTV, how
Mm,
beautiful, how in that 30-minute show, from like they do all this full god, and they will have like minor thing happening, right? But it's so far from the reality, so far.
yeah.
And what I like about this space that we have in the real estate view is that the three of us, we come, and then we're not at the top of our industry, right? We're not
Not
doing
yet.
100 flips a year, and we're not doing all of those things. We'll get there, but right now we're like in this place where we're not beginners anymore, but we're growing, so we're in this growth phase, and it comes. So that's the reality. And
Hmm.
so the real estate view will help us share this adventure, because it is really an adventure. And I love the fact that we can freely share that and say, like, hey, really? That HGTV thing was really a show. It's a show. Just
Yeah.
like any other show that you see there, it's a really show.
With
Yeah.
actors and actresses.
Oh, yes,
Hmm.
definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, yeah.
we've had experiences. We haven't had like a ton of experiences, but we've, between the three of us, we've had enough experience to be able to share, you know, what goes on behind the scenes, because
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes
I
on
love how
behind the
you
scenes.
pause.
Because you want to find the right word to describe it. You don't want to turn anybody off, so
I was
you
gonna
just want to
say
find the
this
right
is
word.
yeah, this is not to scare anyone away from the real
No,
estate
not
business
really.
or from going into business, but when we break down the name of our show, The Real Estate View, it is really to give you to talk about real estate from each of our points of view. And to give you the real story. I mean, like both of you mentioned, HDG and Property Brothers, and what's the other one? Like Listed or Love It. There's a whole
Yes.
bunch of shows. Like literally, is a whole network dedicated to showing you all of the
The
bows and
fun side to it.
exactly. Exactly. Because,
And it is fun to watch. I mean, I
it is
enjoy
fun to
it.
watch. I mean, going over budget and all of that. No one
It's
wants to
not
see that
fun.
on TV. Yeah,
Right.
no, no one, no one
Nobody
It's
wants to
wants
not
to
see
see
that.
that
that
you have to
appealing.
do.
It's not that appealing. Oh, but
Cracking the
I guess
foundation. No, nobody wants to see
no,
that on TV.
no.
No, we don't want to
As
see
if it
that.
doesn't happen, right? As if
Right.
it doesn't exist.
Right.
But
Being able
what
to buy a house for $5 that now you fixed it up and you sold it for $1 million. Yeah, no, nobody. We want to sell, the
We
fake
would all
dream.
love that.
That would be what?
yes,
That
we
would be
love it. Yes,
wonderful.
That would be ideal,
yes.
but that's not
Yes.
the way it is.
Right. Right.
The other thing that I like about the real estate view, and this is very close to my heart, um, being from like mixed racial, I come across a lot of the different cultures and different denominations and all of that demographic, and I don't see a lot of us being out
Right.
there and succeeding into that world, and so this is why I love real estate view. It's just to give, maybe if another little girl watches, and some, other people, some other women, that young women that are there, that they can see that there is a place for them, that
Mhm.
they can go through this journey themselves or a different journey, but that things are possible.
Right.
Right. They can do it too. It can be done.
Yes, and that it doesn't matter what color you are. Yes, you will have struggle, you know, just like last summer we went into that Black Lives Matters and all of that. It was a difficult time, and it still is a difficult time
Hmm.
in this country. But I do believe that if more of us take a stand and just being out there and doing what we think is best for our lives and what brings us more happiness and all, then things will turn around. Then change will happen, little by little.
Yeah, just
We
being
all
kind.
learn
Being
from each
kind to each
other.
other.
So the more we learn, the more we want to share with our peers, the more that someone's going to take that information and maybe they interpret it different than we do, but then they can turn that into something and share their experience and, rinse and repeat.
Yes,
So each one teach one.
absolutely.
Precisely. So Lorraine, tell me a little bit about your notes niche, because I I'm not familiar with it. I know we've
Mhm.
discussed it briefly on the show, but give me a little bit more detail if you don't mind.
Sure, of course. So, and I think that also ties in nicely with the struggles that some of us experience within business. Because I know one of my struggles, especially in the very beginning, was inventory. Like, we're all in real estate. We're all, for the most part, looking in this. If we're in the same areas, we're looking at the same properties. So how do you beat out your competition, or how do you stand out from your competition? And so this is how I sort of stumbled upon notes
And you're
because,
in New York, so New
and I'm
York is
yeah,
like
the
pretty the
concrete jungle, as they call it here.
right. So
Oh,
So
price
yeah.
points are a lot higher in New York.
absolutely. And I mean, and I'm sure that there are tons of places throughout the country that are experiencing the same thing. You're having properties go on the market that are quote unquote distressed, but they're still going for retail prices. So as a new investor, as a new business owner, how do you make yourself stand out, or how do you make a name for yourself or make space for yourself within the industry? And so with notes, it's sort of like a backdoor entry, in my opinion, because I'm purchasing. And when we're thinking about mortgage note investing, essentially what we're doing is we're buying debt at a discount. And I know a lot of people that's sort of hard to wrap your mind around. It's like, okay, why would I want to buy debt? Traditionally, we are taught that debt is a bad thing. But in reality, with notes, debt is actually a good thing, and it's something that you can make money and make returns off of. So I think that's what intrigues me the most. It's that if I found a way to have access to inventory without kind of tugging and pulling with all of the other investors that are in the industry, but it also gives me a different perspective. I'm not as focused on the property itself, but more
Right.
the numbers associated
Okay.
with the property. And me being a sort of analytical type of person, I also have a tax background. So me focusing on the numbers and the research associated with the investment is actually really interesting.
I mean,
And
it's
so,
kind of amazing that you were able to find that niche. You kind of, you
yeah.
I
figured
love
that
Well,
out pretty fairly quickly. It seems like, right?
similar, I really feel like it felt, if excuse me, that it found me. And then maybe it was all of my pleadings, and when I'm here in my office by myself, it's like, please, what am I doing wrong? Please help me find something. And through networking, through going to different meetings, it kind of just, I just stumbled upon it, and it started to make more sense the more that I learned about it. And it's not to say that I still won't practice like wholesaling and rehabbing and buy and hold and commercial at the same time, but it's just, it was what I needed at the time to keep me motivated. And I think a lot
Right.
of times, especially as new business owners and investors, that's what we need. We need to just find a path that works for us and
I love,
expand
I'm sorry
upon
to
it.
cut you off, Lorraine. I
No,
love
you're
what you
fine.
share. I love how you turn your obstacle into an opportunity,
Hmm.
right? Like, don't you think, like Kim, you're like in New York, like, we know you in New York. I don't even know how people find their flips or whatever. It's so competitive. Like,
Yep.
and then you knew that you still went for it, and through your obstacle, you were able to find the opportunity. I just love that.
And even on top of that, so I've noticed as I continue to learn more in this space and expand upon it, I want to help other people who are in my position, because I know there are investors who feel the same way. It's just like, okay, I'm spinning my wheels
Yes.
trying to figure out how to make it in this business. I know I can be successful, I know I'm going to make it, I just don't know how.
Right.
So me being able to share my experience and share what I've learned with other investors is probably one of the more rewarding aspects of it, because I really do want to help other investors or other business owners who might have been or who are in my same position. So I
And
think
real
that's probably the key for me.
and real estate investing is not only about flipping houses,
Right.
and
No.
buying rentals.
Right.
It's there's so many other aspects to it, and you kind of honed in on one aspect that's not very common, and I commend you for that, because like I said, I
Oh
had
yes.
no idea what notes were, but
Yeah,
now.
and I appreciate that, but I mean, let's not sell ourselves short, ladies. I mean, you guys are doing some pretty awesome things within the real estate space too. I mean, so Kim, when it comes to creative financing, I think that's one of the things that is interesting to me, because there's more than one way to look at a deal, right? Like we can
Oh
both look
yes.
at something and say, oh, okay, yeah, I'll offer you cash, or I'll, whatever the strategy is. But being able to really creatively formulate
Right.
a deal or formulate an investment can really save the day. That differentiates you from someone who's just like, well, this is too much work. I can't do it. But being able to actually work with a homeowner or a seller or whoever it is and say, you know what, this seems like it's complicated, but I have a way, because of my experience, to finagle this so it works out for everyone. And I think that's probably one of the more difficult skills, in my opinion, to figure out, because you have to have a great understanding of real estate to be able to figure out how to present all of these different options to someone. So I,
Yeah,
I
you're
think
you're
that's really interesting.
Thank you. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's so easy, and it's most natural, when you're speaking to a seller, to just want to say, here's my cash offer. Not
Hmm.
everybody fits the mold of needing or even wanting just an all cash offer.
Right.
There's so many other aspects where you can help these sellers and even buyers, because not all buyers are able to, they don't all fit the mold of going to a bank and qualifying for traditional financing.
Hmm.
So being creative in the way that you analyze these deals and able to help these homeowners is key.
And it makes them appreciate you a lot more, because a lot of times when you hear, oh, you just get a cash offer, or they don't think, especially like you said, if they don't fit into that mold, they think that they don't have any other options, and so it's actually more defeating than maybe someone else, because it's just like, okay, well, all I know is this way, and if this way doesn't work, then I have nobody to help me. And then here you come and save the day and be like, oh no, actually I have 3 other options that I can
Right.
provide to
Or
you.
even
So
more,
Right,
even
because
more,
yeah,
right?
we're in the business of solving problems. Most of
Yes.
these
exactly.
sellers have problems that they need to be solved, and just throwing a cash offer at somebody, it's not usually the right option for them. So, you have to be able to offer them other things.
Cash is
And
not always king. I mean, it's
no,
most
not
times,
not
but
not
not
in
all
most
times.
circumstances.
But
Yep.
Kim, I love the fact that you too, you saw the obstacle in our business, right?
Hmm.
Because probably you receive a lot of no answer to your cash offer. And
Correct.
then you just thought out of the box and going into this creative financing, which is like so like bright of you of doing
Right,
that.
because like
Yep.
Lorraine said, it's the Chicago, the market is pretty competitive here. I think the market is competitive everywhere. So
Yes.
you just, you are in essence competing with a lot of people, to come across a good deal and to be able to help these sellers, because sellers are getting calls from a ton of people, and not everybody's able to help them. So
Yep.
coming up with a creative way to help a seller is it's been working out pretty well, and they're happy, they're pleased in the end.
And sometimes you can even create a deal. So maybe if it doesn't even
Yes.
look like a deal on the
Yes.
surface, you're like, well, let me just move this
Tweak
zero
here
here
and
and do
there.
all
Yes.
this, and then now it's a deal. It's like, well, nobody, and you reduce your competition, because most people aren't going to know how to structure that type of deal.
Exactly. No,
Did
you're
someone
absolutely
So
ever
right.
ask you, Kim, like, is this legal? Can you
um
really do
yes,
that?
yes, we get a ton of, is this legal, kind of question, and it is
Yes.
legal, and you can always speak to your attorney, and they'll let you know that, yeah, this is
Well,
absolutely legal.
well, I think, they are right to ask that question because we're
mhm,
not educated as a society for that. Like,
Right, it's not
right.
the
a common
normal way
thing.
is like I list my house, it gets sold, or, I get a cash offer, then it's being sold. Like, and so there's just like those two options. Like people don't know that something else can be done.
Right.
Right, there's a variety of options available. You
Yes.
just have to
Yes.
know and who to present it to, because it doesn't fit everybody.
Yes.
That's why it's important
Yep.
to listen to sellers when you're talking to people. It's just all about listening, because if you're not listening, you're not going to know how to help them.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's it. And a lot of negotiation skills there.
A little bit.
I'm sure tons of it. Tons of it. But
Yep.
I think this is what the real estate view is about, is like us sharing our stories and sharing, what we've learned, just like you going on with your notes, Lorraine, and like going for it, knowing that. And then, and for you, Kim, to go and find a way of making it happening. The real estate is such a great way of having financial independence.
Yeah.
And
That's what it's
so,
all about. Yeah.
there's space for everybody.
But what about you, Mickey? I mean, so I'm really super excited for you, because I don't think people really understand how involved the commercial market is. And I mean, this is something that I feel you're gonna dominate soon anyway. But um because a lot of times when we think about real estate, we think about homes, right? But a lot of
Single
times we
family
don't think
housing.
about, there's different types of homes. There's single family homes, there's multifamily, there's commercial that can be both residential and business related. So I don't know if you want to kind of expand upon how you kind of stumbled upon commercial, or knowing that that's the direction that you want to go to for your business, and kind of how you got there.
Yes. And so for us in our company, my business partners and us, we have children, right? And so we keep always thinking at the back of our head, how do you create this generational wealth?
Hmm.
And we've noticed, and everybody, there's a pattern in our society. Where is the money? The money of most of those people is into real estate. Like they will sit on those big commercial, those big buildings belong to someone,
Yep.
like it can belong to a group or things like that, but someone owns them. And so when we started their company, you do one rehab, you're happy, you do several, you're happy. And then we realized, we would love to have something, to have those commercial deals so that we can hold on to them and just pass them to our children or just have that passive income. And so we did go for more training, of course, because
Mm-hmm.
in the morning knowing how to analyze a commercial deal. Like it is very different than the residential. It's a step-by-step process. It takes a bit longer than closing in a just like a single family home. But for us, it's like the same amount of time basically into doing all those analysis and finding, raising the funds and all of that. So that's how we're going into it. We started a little bit now with triplex and duplexes and
Nice.
fourplex, which we absolutely love. We're turning some of them into Airbnb, which is very new to us. But again, we've seen people doing that, and we are Airbnb fans. I mean, wherever I
I know we're going to be working on our first Airbnb as well.
Very nice.
we don't do hotels anymore. Like we do Airbnb. So we were just like, hey, let us just go into that and see how it goes. And here again, we stayed very open-minded and spoke to people, asked questions, attended some groups, attended some, you know, trainings about
Mhm.
Airbnb as well, so that we are, because I feel like the real estate people would think it's very risky. It is risky, but
Very.
the more you know, the less your risk. Like you're able to see how to structure those deal, and I think this is why education in what we do is so important.
Right. That's why it is important to continue to go to training sessions,
Yes,
go
and the
go and get
market
more
shifts,
coaching.
right? The market shifts. Like
Mhm.
in a few, no, I'm even tempted to say in a few months, if we were to have this conversation, it will be very different.
I agree.
Right, because the moratorium is going to be lifted soon,
Oh
and
yeah,
there's going to be a shift in the market, of course. So yeah, the conversation is going to totally be different.
yes. And so as business owner, as being people out there, we constantly have to adapt ourselves, constantly be aware of how things are happening, how quick we have to make the shift. What trainings do we need to still be competitive, either competitive or just in business, people,
Mhm.
just in business.
And I think a lot of what you said is very important, especially the training part, because I think when we're in an industry or when we're in business, it's not just, okay, I'm going to learn whatever I need to learn to start the business and that's it. Like you consistently have to, especially to stay at the top of your industry or stay competitive within your industry, you have to continue to educate yourself. And I feel if it's an industry or a business that you're passionate about already, you're going to want to learn more. You want to go to that next level, or you want to know, like, okay, what else can I learn about this so that I know this inside out, backwards, front, all of those phrases. So,
Yeah, you're
like
hungry
you
for
said,
that knowledge.
yeah, it's a constant learning curve to not only understand what you're doing, but how to get to the next step.
Yeah,
So yeah, the
absolutely.
training and education never stops in any industry that you're in my opinion.
Well, if you want to stay at the top, yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the other people will just go ahead of you. And it's not even that, it's not viable for a business.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
want to be able to help people and they're asking you questions, you don't know the answer. It's like, okay, well, how credible is
How
this person?
credible are you, and why should I work with you? And you won't
Yeah.
even know the answer to that question.
Right. Yep. I would agree. I would agree. So I mean, I don't know if you late. I think we've kind of given a good, and we're gonna continue to expand upon these topics in every week with our
Yeah.
show in terms of what's going on in the real estate market, how that ties into our businesses, and how it could
What we're
potentially
doing.
help, any of the businesses for the people that are listening. So,
Do we
And
share the
anybody
surprise?
who's considering getting into business,
yeah, I don't know if we should share
the surprise.
surprises too soon. I mean, we gotta build up the anticipation a little bit. Maybe,
Yes, so stay tuned because it's
yes.
not gonna be just the three of us. We're going to have some guests here with us, some other ladies, fantastic ladies that we've been privileged to know and to be friends with. So I'm really excited about that.
And
I'm
they're
really
going to
excited
cross
about
their
what we
wings in
have
real
coming up.
estate.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, ladies, I guess we're coming to the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what this weekend is? Everybody knows this weekend is Father's Day weekend.
Yes.
Yeah. I usually get it wrong. It is, right?
It is. It is.
So we want to wish all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day weekend and also happy Juneteenth to anybody who's
Yes.
celebrating Juneteenth.
Kim, you're
Yeah.
like reading my mind right now because all of these things I was just
Yeah.
about to say, you're on it. You're on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And until next week, when we meet again, know your why.
Know your heart.
And know your purpose. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.